Good morning, Aubrey. I'm excited about today's episode.
Yes, we got a really good
Oof.
question from a listener with a very difficult task 2 essay topic
Oh
that
my
I
gosh.
am excited for you guys listening because if you get a topic like this, it would be really difficult. It's one of the hardest I've seen. So we
Seriously.
are going to give you steps, help you make sure that if you get an essay like this, you're going to rock it. You're going to nail it.
And I love a challenge like this that really gets both of our brains working like at full capacity. How do we answer this in a way that is reachable for listeners, for non-native speakers, right? How can we make this very hard thing simple to understand and simple to do and still score highly? I mean, there's
Yes.
so many things that we need to incorporate into our answer. Um, I really loved thinking about this. Okay, so let's read the question first. Aubrey, can you read the question, please?
Yeah, so this was from Salman Terry. He said, "Hello, All Ears English team. I have a question about writing. I saw the question in Cambridge Book 10, Test 3, Task 2. The question is, countries are becoming more and more similar because people are able to buy the same product anywhere in the world. Do you think this is a positive or negative development?"
Wow.
Now, I know, very difficult question. And then he asks, "Now, I don't know what should I write to avoid writing anything off topic, whether it is about countries becoming similar or about availability of different products anywhere. Thank you in advance, and thank you for your awesome podcast." Thank you for your question. That's an amazing
Seriously, this
question.
is so good. All right, so I could see how most people would answer this poorly because there is so much going on in the question. So, like, even though Salman Taheri is really thinking about this, you're still going in the wrong direction, which is like he wants to choose one of those things to talk about instead of talking about both of those things. Like, this is what makes it so impossible. Well, not impossible. We'll tell you how to do it, but
Difficult. We'll say
this is
difficult.
what makes it so difficult is there seems to be like two different topics in this question. He's like, do I talk about countries becoming similar or do I talk about everyone buying the same product? But it's not an or situation. In order to get a high score for task, you guys have to directly address everything in the question. You can't leave anything out. You have to mention all of the keywords in that question. And not only that, like, not only do we have to talk about those two different topics, even though they're related, we have to express our opinion because the
Right?
question finishes, do you think this is a positive or negative development? Like, we have to express our opinion throughout the essay to get a 7 or higher for task as well.
Yes. And the other reason I think this would be so difficult is I know I have seen other task 2 questions that are very similar,
Yeah.
but different enough that if you
Yeah.
don't read the question very carefully and follow the steps we're going to share with you today, you might assume it's this question you've already seen, right? I know I've
Right.
seen one where it's more just about products being available to everyone
Yeah.
and more about globalization. Like,
Right.
is this okay? Is this going to hurt small businesses? And if
Right.
you answer that question, that's off topic.
Yeah. Oh, this is so good. All right. So, let's get into this, guys. We're going to give you 3 steps to tackle really hard questions like this. Okay. So, the first step, well, all of these steps, by the way, are straight out of Three Keys IELTS. We give you the whole system for every type of question that you might see on the IELTS exam in there. Check it out, guys, allearsenglish.com/KEYS. But the first step in every question, guys, is you underline keywords in the question because you have to address all of those key ideas from the question, they all have to come up in your essay in order to get a 7 or higher for task response. If you leave one of those key ideas completely out of your essay, if you don't mention it at all, the highest score you could get for task is a 5 because you forgot part of the question. Okay? So,
Yes.
first step, underline all the keywords because you have to have all of it in your essay.
And you can see how this would really have kept Salman on the right track because if he underlined both of those, right? Countries are becoming more
Right.
and more similar. And then also buy the same product,
Mhm.
and then positive or negative, then if he knows this strategy, if he knows this step, he'd realize I can't choose one or the other. I have to address all of these keywords I've underlined. So now I have to figure out in my brainstorm, how do I address all of this?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that's the first step. And then the second step is to plan your essay. Again, this is directly from Three Keys IELTS, guys. When we brainstorm for a tough question like this, I personally find it easier to think of like examples, like specific things that come to mind first, and just write down whatever my first idea is, whatever comes to mind first. Even if it's like a really specific example, I can then look at that example and then I could think of a general reason for that example. You know what I mean? Like, you don't
Mhm.
have to brainstorm exactly the order of the ideas in your essay. Like, topic, sentence, reason, example, detail. You don't have to brainstorm exactly in order. I do it backwards sometimes.
Yeah,
I'll
that makes
think of the
sense.
example and then I'll go back and think of a reason.
And that's really what we did here because my first thought was McDonald's. It's like,
Yeah,
McDonald's is the biggest negative I can think of here. So then we're
right.
like, okay, paragraph one's about food.
Yeah.
And we've got our specific detail of McDonald's, but that's not our reason. That's not our idea, right? That's our example.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So remember that you're not graded on having perfect ideas. You don't have time to come up with perfect ideas. You need to write down the first things you think of because you need all the time that you do have for writing the essay. So the planning cannot be more than 5 minutes for task two. So I was just like, Aubrey said McDonald's. I'm like, okay, body paragraph one, food. Body paragraph two, clothes. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Like, it hopefully should be that fast.
Yes, this is one of the biggest mistakes students make when they're planning, when they're brainstorming. We could have been like, okay, food, let's think of lots of different or let's think of a few other ideas just in case we decide that food isn't strong enough. You do not have time for that, right?
Right.
Come up with one idea that's going to work. You can think of an example for it and move on. Don't waste time on the brainstorm. Just like you said, you need that time to write a good solid essay.
Exactly, exactly. All right, guys. So we have been over the first two steps. You underline keywords in the question. You brainstorm quickly. First ideas you think of that connect all of the keywords in that question, right? While you're brainstorming, guys, you're writing down examples, you're writing down details, you're writing all of the ideas you need in your essay because you do not want to be coming up with ideas while you write. No, while you write, you need to be thinking of vocabulary and linking words. There's enough to think about. Okay. So just remember in your brainstorm, you need to take notes on all of the ideas you need for your essay. So, all right, let's get into step three. Now, like we said in the beginning, guys, in order to get a 7 or higher for task response, you have to show a position, which is an opinion on the topic. And that opinion has to be obvious and present throughout your essay. So, we came up with some opinions and related to those topics we already shared. And these are real sentences that we would put in our essay.
All right, so for paragraph two, you could say, I think the trend of the same processed, apocalypse resistant food, looking at you, McDonald's, being available in every country is most definitely negative. Yeah, and then our example would be McDonald's, right? Not always the healthiest food, and it's replacing these restaurants that have food from cultures that is much richer, right? It breaks my heart when I'm in a really interesting place overseas and I see a McDonald's on every corner. I'm like, that could be an amazing little local place for me to try something new. And it's yeah, so that's a good example there.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Because that example also encompasses everything in the question, right? So countries becoming more and more similar. We would say that the same food is available, that they are buying the same unhealthy food all over the world. And it is a negative because it is leading to similar health problems all over the world. Obesity rates are not just increasing in the US because we are like we've always been the sort of stereotypical overweight, country, but these scary numbers you can now see in every country because all over the world they have access to the same horrible foods.
Yes, exactly. All right, and then let's talk about paragraph 3,
Okay.
right? We are talking about an argument essay here, right? Where you're sharing the negative in part 2 and then the positive in paragraph 3. So you could say, having said that, I do believe the fact that the same affordable, comfortable clothing being sold worldwide is actually positive. For one, it may eliminate notions of class or wealth inherent in local costumes. Oh,
The
Jessica
reason
came up with that sentence. Let's give her a little credit.
Thank you, thank you. Um, it just again, like, when we're thinking of reasons and examples for task 2, we don't have access to the internet, you know what I mean? You're in the test room, you don't have your phone, you don't have Google. So, I we approach this in the same way. And so the reason why I wrote this was kind of hopeful because I don't know if it's super true, but I wish it were. I'm thinking of countries like areas in India where if you wear a certain sari, then it may show that you are from a higher class than someone else or a lower class for that
Interesting.
instance. But um, if everyone's just buying, like jeans and t-shirts and we all kind of look the same, then maybe it sort of puts us on a level playing ground.
Yeah. And you can see, of course, the ideas we're brainstorming are not the only answers, right? If you
Right.
wanted to write an opinion essay and have the second one be another negative, and it could
Yeah,
be the same thing, clothing. If you really believe the traditional clothing should be upheld and shouldn't be replaced by jeans and
totally.
t-shirts, absolutely make that case, right? You can have anything be your idea as long as you support it with details and example, right? It doesn't matter. There is no wrong opinion here. Just write something you can support.
I'm so glad you said that because I do want to highlight that lesson right there that your opinion is never wrong.
Totally.
You're not graded on having the right opinion. There's no right opinion or right answer. And it even like as you were saying that, it made me think of this adorable second grade girl yesterday that was in this class that I subbed for, Iman, and she was wearing like this full, traditional like robe and stuff. And she got to tell me all about like how her family celebrated Eid and like she really educated the whole class because of the clothes that she was wearing and the story they allowed her to tell. So I would change my mind actually and say that's negative.
Nice. I love it. This goes back to a recent episode we did where it's like how to change your mind on IELTS speaking, right?
I know. Yeah,
You're
we
allowed,
all should
Jessica.
not wear the same
No,
clothes. I changed my mind. I love traditional clothes.
I love
Go
it.
for it. Okay, guys. So hopefully you got some great tips today on how to approach very difficult questions because you really do have to be careful in writing task 2. It is so easy to just like destroy your task score because you didn't slow down and read the question, because you didn't think about all the key words, because you didn't brainstorm, all of these things that we're talking about today are necessary for every task 2 question, but especially these tough ones.
Exactly. Oh, such a good episode today. Thanks for joining me, Jessica, and thanks for your question, Salman. It was a really good one.
Awesome, awesome. All right, Aubrey, we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.